My last ride before July Day, on the Monday, my filly in the last race, she got something set her off in the pens, and I was shouting for them not to open, but unfortunately it was just bad timing. The gates were opening as I shouted, and she fly jumped. Actually, quite ridiculous. I wish my show jumpers used to jump as high as that. Fly. And I hit my head on the top of the starting gate, which knocked my head
it's a
back.
proper fly jump, yeah.
Yes, it was, and it I got flew out the back of the saddle and hit the ground. And I had more issues with the whiplash, but they said, protocol is 10 days, they suspect concussion, and booked me off.
What do I say? Good morning, good afternoon. Another podcast without Warren Lenferner, so it should be short and sweet. Warren's enjoying himself in I don't know, Candice is paying. Warren's just enjoying himself. But with me is Rachel Venniker. Rachel, we've done this before, so we won't go back into your past. We want to.
We look to move forward.
We want to move forward now. So, Rachel is the leading apprentice in South Africa. It's a hell of an achievement to be champion apprentice in your first year and beating the boys.
Yeah, it felt quite surreal now when you just said that. It kind of hasn't sunk in. You just keep your head down and you keep working as hard as you can. And every now and again you come up and you think, oh, look, I am actually doing this.
Yeah, well, you've had a hard taskmaster. Michael Roberts, he doesn't take people lightly. He pushes you to the end. No. But Mace was like that when he was an apprentice. So he pushed himself to the end. I remember
exactly.
that. I remember when he was with Cyril Buckham was the riding master at that time, and Cyril always said to me, Mace will always make it because he's such a mean bastard. He'll keep going.
Better not say too much because he might be watching this.
No, I'm sure he'll be watching it. I don't mind. Yeah, no. So Cyril was very complimentary, and I think he's pushing you the same way.
Yes. I also am one. I can't go a day without working as hard as I possibly can. I mean, if I haven't dripped with sweat when I'm done with track work, I'm worried.
Okay.
So luckily we get on like that. Mr. Roberts knows I will work until I fall down. So.
Yeah, I did mention that when we interviewed him a couple of months ago. We couldn't keep him quiet, but he did mention that. So, Rach, but you've been in the headlines recently. Good reasons, bad reasons?
Well, I think it was a bit of both. I would have preferred the headlines to end after actually riding in the job, but unfortunately before that it was injury headlines that ruled me out of riding in the main race.
Yeah.
But, that's the danger of the sport.
What did it feel like to be penciled in behind Red
Saxon.
Red Saxon, yeah.
I was very excited. I mean, just the opportunity of riding in the July. It doesn't matter where you finish.
Yeah, sure.
It's an absolute privilege and an honour. And I was so grateful for Mr. Soma to give me that opportunity. I think it was the announcement when who did the main announcement when they did the draws?
Graham Hawkins.
Graham Hawkins, yes. When he said next to Red Saxon, and that I'd taken the ride. I was watching it on my phone, and it was like I got tingles all down my body. It was so exciting.
Yeah. And how did you take it? I mean, you were in the limelight for at least a week.
Yeah.
Phone calls. Everybody wanted to talk to you.
Yeah. So it was just for me. I'm a bit of a sort of control freak, so I wanted it all properly organised and at this time, and it gave me a bit of stress because I'm like, you can call it 10 o'clock, but then at 11 I've got this, and then at 12 o'clock I'm going here. So it was quite a lot to manage, but I love it. The more stress and pressure I'm under, I actually enjoy it.
Well, I noticed you're a control freak because usually when we get people here to interview, they arrive about half an hour late. You were spot on.
I said it's 9:30, 25 past. I said to Mr. Roberts, okay, I'm on my way. We'll see you later.
Yeah, so did you handle that? It was no problem when you were...
Yeah, no, it was fine for me. It's just like one of the steps you just got to get through and do. It's kind of like booking rides, and I just survived and made it happen.
So you didn't know that you were riding Red Saxon prior to the
I
final
did.
flight?
But it was still sort of up in the air. Mr. Somer had spoken to me the week before, and I'd ridden another horse for him, and he said, this horse is open. And then the day before we had confirmed, but you kind of half expect.
You're still waiting for that
happen.
announcement. Yeah,
It feels
public
like
announcement.
maybe I'm gonna wake up and it was actually all just a dream.
Yeah. And then what happened that you?
In my
couldn't get
last
on?
meeting, my last ride before July Day, on the Monday, my filly in the last race, she got something set her off in the pens, and I was shouting for them not to open, but unfortunately it was just bad timing. The gates were opening as I shouted, and she fly jumped. Actually, quite ridiculous. I wish my show jumpers used to jump as high as that. Fly. And I hit my head on the top of the starting gates, which knocked my head
It's a
back.
proper fly jump, yeah.
Yes, it was, and it I got flew out the back of the saddle and hit the ground, and I had more issues with the whiplash, but they said protocol is 10 days. They suspect concussion and booked me off. So that was, I'd say, the heartbreak of everything was a lot more than the physical pain.
Sure.
I mean, I was in the pain, my neck, but I was like quite. I just sort of disappeared for a week.
Yeah, but things are different in the old days. I was looking at they had a picture of AP McCoy with all his injuries. I think he broke every bone in his body at
Just
some
about.
stage.
And the rest
and he
never
he hardly
took a
missed
day
a
off,
ride.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So these days, the doctors are a bit bloody wary of letting you ride.
Yeah,
Do you
especially.
think that's good or bad? Sorry, Rach. Do you think that's good or bad?
Are you asking me?
Both of you.
Because I don't think you want my my opinion.
The thing is, you've got a doctor's opinion, and if you disobey what the doctor says and you have an accident, it's not just you riding; it's also
Exactly.
the people behind you. If you happen to fall, and
And
the doctor
especially-
hasn't passed you, you're in trouble.
And jockeys, we are tough people. So, I mean, half the time we don't even realise how much pain we're in. I mean, I had a fall the other day where I got up and they all said, okay, well, we assume you're getting off the rest of the day. And I said, not a chance.
Yeah.
I've got a winning ride just now. And only when I sort of got home and all the adrenaline had weared off, I thought, jeepers, I'm in a lot of pain. Like, that was actually quite a nasty incident. And and all of us, we're the same. I mean, you just get up and you keep going. And if the doctor thinks there's something wrong, you've got to listen, unfortunately. So, I don't know. For me, I hate it because then it meant 2 weeks of
2 weeks off, yeah.
not working. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I drove my parents off the wall because I can't sit still. I was walking around the house. They said, just sit down. I said, I can't. I want to go exercise. They said, well, you're not allowed to just sit down.
Yeah, I know that's different. I mean, it's like the rugby rules, and also they all got so wussy at the moment. I mean,
Yes.
in the old days, I remember a mate of mine, he saw Val Bartman after a game he played for the Sharks. His back was just raked to pieces,
Yeah.
and because those are the old days. If you lay on the ball, you got raked out.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, "I just love it."
And the reason why I'm asking, I was listening to this podcast this morning. This guy was interviewing an Army Navy SEAL guy who served for 20 years, and he wrote a book and whatnot. So now in the podcast, he's talking about how nowadays the Navy SEALs, there's a training program called BUDS. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. And it's a 5-day program. The apprentices or the whatever they call, they don't sleep for 5 days, no food, very little food. It's hectic. Over 90% of actually more people die in buds than they die in war. I've heard that as well. So but they were also now saying that it's gone a little soft. They don't use, like, they'd fluke you and tell you that your significant other is doing whatever and you hear, just to try and get into your mind. And nowadays they say it's a little softer and whatnot. They don't, and the army people, the soldiers, are becoming, you know what I mean?
No, it's a bit of a mind game. I mean, that's what they do to you. I mean, remember South African rugby camp Staldraad? They try to sort of break everybody down to the same level, and then they build you up. But it doesn't work these days.
No.
It's funny. The more people there are, the bloody softer we get.
It's
Yeah.
crazy, right?
I believe it's different for each person. I mean, some people, if they're getting arrogant, break them down, get them back to earth. But there's certain people you need to build up, and if you try and break them, I mean, it's just not a good idea.
Yeah.
No, you
So I
went to
don't
the
know,
army.
it's
Yeah.
different. I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah, I know, but that's the army method. They break
Yeah.
everybody down to the same level. It's just up to your manager or your whoever's looking after you to see who's capable and who isn't. Yeah.
Separate the boys from the men.
Yeah, but anyway, Rachel, you're going to be champion apprentice.
Should do.
First year. No, I think you'll make it.
We've got 15 days left.
I haven't seen Mr. Brewski for a while. He hasn't had a winner.
Suspended this week, and so.
Yeah, I think Caden was chasing, right? It was a good move for him to go to Johannesburg.
Yes, he's very lucky. Got nice support there.
Yeah. The Joburg apprentices seem to get more, but there's more racing there. And I think the trainers there like they're full claimers.
The general consensus is that KZN is quite difficult to get support as apprentices, so they tend to go to Joburg, and Joburg love the claimers. So it's nice for them to get sort of going and on their way.
Where do you think boss? Where do you think you're going to end up? Like your future?
Do you mean
plans?
South Africa or overseas?
In general, where do you want to?
Well, my short term is I want to stay here, and this is home. I love KZN. I've got a lovely. I love riding for the Robert stable. Every day, and KZN is home. I mean, I suit the weather. I'm a bit of a softie. I couldn't deal with the Joburg cold. I was there the other day, and they were all laughing at me because they said, "Oh, it's so nice and warm." I said, "Are you joking? I need like 4 jackets on."
That's about -3. Yeah.
No, exactly. I'm a bit soft when it comes to that. But then, I mean, long term, it's whatever opportunities present themselves, and then you've just got to decide where's a good idea.
And you've still got about 2 years to go in your apprenticeship?
Yes. So I mean, for the foreseeable future, I should be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, you find in KZN, the KZN trainers are sort of the guinea pigs for the young jockeys.
Yes. So the apprentices.
Yes.
Usually because it's still in school, they have to start. Yeah.
No, sure, yeah, but I mean, look at Ashburton. I mean, they all start off at Ashburton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Safer. It's a round track. If you get run away, you just keep going round.
Keep going round and round. Yeah.
Yeah, you end up in the bush down the bottom.
Yeah. So so the KZN trainers are basically tutors as far, and they look after the riding masters to help them out. But I know blokes like Duncan Howes. I mean, he's trained a few like Craig Zackies and the Gavin Larinas. I remember he chased Gavin Larina from one ring to the other one day when he didn't listen to instructions.
Yeah.
He's calmed down a bit since then. But that's the way things go.
Yeah, so they do most of the ground training here in KZN, and then they venture out.
As Rachel says, most of them are still at school here, so they can't go anywhere. But Robert Moore seems cherry picks too. Yeah.
Yes.
Picks the best, takes them to Joburg, but he's a superb trainer of jockeys. I mean, he spent his time in Singapore, Korea. I think he was Korean. He ran the Jockeys Academy in Korea.
Yeah.
Is that Daryl Moore's?
Daryl Moore's father.
Father.
Yeah.
Yes. And his grandfather as well was also
Ivan. Yeah.
Jockey.
Ivan was a jockey and a trainer. Yeah,
and a trainer.
In Zim.
In Zim, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Robert was a jock.
Yeah, it's an incredible family.
Daryl, they got a pedigree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, one thing that I've been wanting to ask you, Rachel, is, just going back to the Red Saxon incident. How did you deal with that? You know me and my questions and my...
Yeah, you get quite personal.
Yeah, I mean,
how was the emotions?
Yeah, I mean, how did you... I'd like to know how, because I find you a very strong-minded person.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated. You know me, I love sports and the mindset of things and getting through things and being a winner, that winning mentality. How did you deal with that? I know you're frustrated and whatnot, but how did you get through it? What was...
Yeah, so it was actually, the way I handled it even surprised myself, because sort of the day or two after, I was in pain, so I'm always a little bit more grumpy when you saw, and I felt like terrible, actually. I thought, how can this happen? You set in history, you've got all these exciting things happening, and you've got to have one bloody thing happen to you, and now it's all gone. And I got suddenly sort of quite bitter and upset. And then I thought, I'm not doing this for fame and for fortune and for big race. I'm doing this because I love racing. And I've got my stable of horses that are flipping. I love them to bits. I've told everyone that they're practically my children. And that's why I do it. So stuff it. Get over your injury. Fix yourself up. Try and keep fit and not get too heavy, which was a bit of a concern for me. So I just then focused. I mean, I disappeared off social media for a while. So that's a big one for me. I've always found as soon as I'm sort of under pressure or whatever, the phone goes off. I won't answer calls if I don't know the number. No social media stuff. That helps me a lot because I see people tend to get sort of wound up and they're too worried about the social media than actual real life. So I cut that out and then I just went back to my normal existence, Just once I was allowed to start exercising, stay fit, heal up, and then come back.
Yeah.
Weren't you allowed to exercise in there?
No, so for the concussion, the first week, you're not even supposed to watch TV, you're not supposed to really do anything. You must just be quiet. Which I must say was like, you might as well just tie me with bricks or something. It was killing me.
Yeah.
Because I'm also a massive movie watcher.
Yeah.
That's all. If I could spend every day, all day watching movies, I would. So they were like, no, we'll turn off the TV. You can't watch movies. I said, you better log me on my Netflix account.
Why do you think they don't allow you to watch movies?
It's so that your brain has time to recover. Because with all the lights and stuff, it's not good for your
Yeah, they always say on
cells
television we've got flash photography.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's something to do with
to go and murder someone.
your neurons need to repair or something that I don't fully understand, but I just got told don't do it, so it's okay. I've forgotten completely where I was going at this point.
Yeah, so you were telling me about how you were dealing with it mentally.
Oh yeah, so then once I was back at work, the first day back was Sunday where I went to races. So I said in the morning, we don't normally work on a Sunday. I said, listen, I've got to cancel something just to make sure that I still know what I'm doing. All the grooms would trip me and say, and Tommy, you still know how to hold a horse. I should hope so. It hasn't been that long. It's only 10 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And then straight back into races. And it was just, it felt so good.
Did you feel like the doctor sort of overdiagnosed you and maybe made it too much of a big deal? Do you know what I mean? Do you feel like maybe I didn't have to actually sit at home. Maybe I could have gone back and actually ridden in the July. Or maybe I could have just taken 1 week instead of 2 weeks. You ever feel like that?
I'm not going to comment on that one. Because all I'm focusing on is just now staying healthy and riding more winners.
Yeah.
And I see, was Kaylee's fate that did you, isn't it?
Yes,
In
and I'm
the
riding her on Monday.
That's what I saw that, yes.
It's not the last race, is it? I hope it's not the last race, because I said I might just retire from last races.
But I also see that you got quite a light ride there. Is it 53.5?
Yeah, so that's my bottom riding weight.
Can you make that?
Yes, I can. I always get someone moans about the size of my saddle, but we do it.
Okay.
I've got a teeny little dock. I got it from Uncle Rob.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. It's like, I think unfitted, it's 110 grams. You throw it up, it blows away.
It's hardly a saddle.
It's
like
not really
a piece of
like
paper. But you're going to end up with like Andrew Fortune, who used to ride with paper boots.
I love
paper
my
boots
paper
as well.
boots.
Paper
I'd actually
boots?
prefer if I could ride in paper boots all the time. I would. Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
So like they got a zipper and everything.
Yeah, but they're like socks basically, but lighter than socks and slightly shiny.
Wow.
I'll show you them
love
at
to see
races.
them.
Must come. You should have a look. I love them.
No, you've always for every little ounce you've got to make a sacrifice somewhere.
Yeah,
along the
because
line.
if you weigh in 53.4, you're making it. Sorry, if it's 53.5, I'll weigh 53.9 if I'm swerving. That 100 grams is the difference between plussing a half kilo or not.
Yeah.
So you stripping everything off: light breeches, paper boots, no socks.
And then I come along with my GoPro that weighs about 200 grams.
Yeah, that's why sometimes we say,
Well,
I'm not weighing with it, that's for sure.
That goes on your hat, so it's fine.
And then Rachel, you came back and you had winners. Was that your first race meeting back?
Yes, it was.
And you had how many winners?
2.
Yes.
Yeah. Just had to remind everyone I'm still here.
Yeah. So that means that was a good comeback if you ask me.
Yeah, I was standing next to Michael when you rode. What was it? What's it called? Something blush.
Sunblush.
Sunblush. I just heard him. I've been talking to him about how the jockeys beforehand and the good ones and the bad ones and all that, and then he didn't say anything. The next minute I hear, "Go Rach! Go Rach! Go Rach!" Thanks, mate. So I could have had a bet. So Rach, you've made a good name, big name for yourself in such a short time. What is your secret? Is it balance? Judgment?
I mean
both?
riding, not mental.
Riding, no, not
mentally. It's definitely not a mental thing. I don't know. I think, honestly, it's a lot of luck as well.
But you make your own luck in a race.
Opportunities, and you've got to make it. You've got to bring them home, because I've been chirped quite often. You get the armchair ones. You've still got to bring them home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like to think it's I've been taught quite a lot of tactical riding, and if you're thinking and you're calm during a race, it's easy to make sort of sensible decisions. Yeah, I'm not going to say I'll make mistakes, yeah, definitely. I can't deny that one. But you've got to try and make as little mistakes as you can. And then I think the balance is a big thing. Because it just seems like you don't have to do too much to get good results out of horses. So, honestly, not actually too sure.
You sort of go with it. But to keep a cool head in a race, you can't panic.
Yeah. I think I've heard sort of since I started riding work, they say it's something a racing brain. You've either got the racing brain or you don't. And if you don't have one, it can't be taught. So I don't know how much of that is true. I feel for me, I must have a racing brain because I'm always calm in a race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because you'll see blokes panic, and they do. It's the opposite of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because they'll just lose it, and I think it's a big thing to be able to go in a race with a clear mind, what you're going to do, and ride the race as is.
And be quick enough to jump.
Be quick enough to do it.
Yeah.
So be sharp.
So just to just want to get this straight, right? I'm very fascinated about what happens in the race. I feel like being in a race, it's like a minute, 15 seconds, right? The whole race, sometimes on average.
Like that 2-4, yeah.
Right.
What race?
I feel like though, when you end the race, it feels like it's 10 minutes. Am I?
I don't know. You know, it's.
Or does
funny.
it feel shorter? Because you know, being a very seasoned and very good jockey, you've been doing this for so long. So for you, it's second nature. You're doing so many things at once. If I were to jump on a horse, not even race riding, just cantering, there's so many things I need to think about. You know what I mean? But with you, making those split second decisions to say, let me take this gap right now and whatnot. Okay, cool. I'm looking at my peripheral vision. I can see somebody coming from this side. Let me do this, do that. It's quick, but does it feel like it's 10 minutes, or does it feel shorter? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's actually quite interesting. When I first started riding in the work rider races, I was chatting to Warren Kennedy, and he spoke to me in one of the other ones, and he said, it's gonna feel like it's going by like lightning. He said, it's only a minute at 1200 meter. It's a minute or so, give or take. I mean, my times are not great. But he said, for you, it's going to feel like the fastest minute of your life. Whereas for us, it feels like a decent minute. And I knew what he meant, and I didn't quite grasp it until I started riding consistently. And then you realize, it doesn't feel like it's long, but it feels slightly slow because you're so focused and you know kind of what's going to happen that it does feel slightly longer, but not like you're doing a plank kind of, when the minute seems like it's taking 16 years.
Yeah. Okay. And then now in the tactical side of things, that's when you know that, okay, I can see there's a gap here. Let me take a gap, or let me just fasten, move a little quicker a bit.
So it gets even more complicated because you study your form, you know your horses that you need to beat, and that's why I love watching the English racing. And the perfect example the other day was I can't remember what the race was, one of those big feature races in England, and actually Mr. Roberts sent me the video and said, watch this for proper riding, and the horse to beat was on the fence in the box seat, and they wouldn't let him out, and the horse on the outside actually won the race. The tactical move around the turn so that he could get the first run is what won him the race, and that's more technique. So if you've got the hot pot favourite drawn 1, and you're sitting next to them, you don't let him out.
But you're thinking,
that's beautiful.
But you're thinking the whole race.
Yeah.
It's not when you start out as an apprentice. Like if you speak to any apprentice, I mean that the first 2 or 3 races that flash past. Because you're just
trying to
sitting.
survive. Try not to kill anyone and just go straight.
It's once you've got yourself all together and you know what you're doing, then you can work out tactics. You follow. You know which horse to follow or which horse not to follow, or go to the front or whatever. So
and you've spent hours studying not only how your horse likes to run, because you also can't change necessarily how a horse likes to run. Certain horses like to come from off them, some want to go to the front, some are nervous to be in a group. You've got to know your own horse. And then you go and watch the replays for everyone else. And you see, this is a well-weighted horse. He comes from off them. So when I make my move, I mustn't go too soon because you know that's going to come and find you. And if the horse that goes to the front hasn't got form, don't go chase it. But if it does, you better go chase it. So you've got to know who your form horses are. who you've got to beat.
Yeah,
Mm.
you don't
It's
just
very
jump on and
important.
ride. No.
So you see now, these questions might seem obvious to some people listening and to you guys, but for a person like me, you know, I always hear, and maybe a lot of people out there that are listening, you know, they might not know that when a jockey is talking about tactics, you know, and I'm watching a race, what am I actually looking for? You know what I mean? A lot of people look at it, just how nicely sat you are on the horse, and then, you know, when you start speaking about tactics, he'll agree and say, good tactics, but he doesn't know what exactly you're talking about. So I wanted that's why I'm asking these questions, because I'm genuinely interested in you know what goes into the race. Now you speak about mistakes. What is making a mistake? Is it not taking a gap too early? Is it letting your horse quicken too quick?
Yeah, so unfortunately there are a lot of mistakes you can make.
Yes.
And I know this coming from someone who's made most of them.
Yeah.
So I mean where you cost yourself races. So most horses generally have about a 300 to 350 meter fastest pace.
Uh-huh.
So the straight is 400 meters. If you send your horse before the 400, by the 150 your horse is going to have run out of steam.
Yes.
So then someone can come past you. So you might be in front thinking you're a legend, and the field's going to come past because your horse is going to get
Then
tired.
you has been in the
Yeah.
next 50 yards.
And then you look like a bit of a muppet when you're trying to push your horse and you can see it's tired and you think, I've gone too soon.
Yeah.
You can also go too late. I mean, I've seen people you
I've
sit
seen that as well.
to the last minute and then your horse is just hitting its peak past the line. So I believe there's a sort of, you could actually do in a graph, your horse's fastest stride must be over the finish line.
Yes.
But over, not before, not after.
Yeah.
And then it's a funny timing thing. So there's that. I mean, then there's silly mistakes. You miss the break, you end up at the back of the field, or something. I'm not even.
Sorry.
Oh.
Missing the break is missing the quickening time.
Yes, no.
No,
When
you
they
must-
open the pins.
They open the pins
Oh.
and you jump slow.
we
yeah.
we get a signal. We get told, okay, heads up.
Yes.
In some places they'll sometimes say 1, 2, 3, but not often.
Yeah.
You get heads up and they open the gates, and you have to be ready that when those gates open, your horse knows
Okay.
it's got to come out.
Yes.
So sometimes, horses have problems with pins. They slow out. You've got to make sure they come out. You've got to be aggressive. Or, they come out rolling and you've got to be a little bit soft.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and again, you can get caught by surprise and your horse not standing quite right, and you lose a half a length. Suddenly you're supposed to be sitting second or third, you're sitting 6th or 7th. So there's that kind of problem as well.
Yeah, and the trainer's swearing at the TV.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm so glad they can't talk to us. Someone suggested the other day we should get like American, and then you could have an earpiece for the jockey. I said, no, thank you.
And the Americans got earpieces for the jockeys.
I think when they work, I don't know about in races, but they said
surely
imagine.
they must be illegal. I remember
I don't
Hansi
think you can do
Cornier
races.
had an earpiece when he was playing in the World Cup. And the Poms complained and he had to take it out.
Yeah. No, I know they suggested for track work. I mean, imagine having your trainer talking to you. I'd be up in knees.
Yeah.
Slow down, go faster, do this, take a bridge, do that. No.
Yeah. We just shout back, why don't you ride it?
Exactly. We've had a few of those.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, so you've got to make those split decisions. And I mean, you've got to know your horse that you're riding in.
Yeah.
And also, the top jocks have got a feel for the horse. They know if they make a mistake, they can still rectify it.
Yeah.
But there's some tracks you can't make mistakes in.
No, and there's certain tracks where you can make mistakes and get away with it.
Get away with
Yeah.
it, yeah. Because Scottsville's one track where I think if you make a mistake up the hill,
you're pretty dead
you're
at
dead.
because there's a big climb there. And
Yeah, they don't call it Splatsville for nothing. Yeah.
Exactly. Flipping, you've got to be careful with if you go to the front there, be careful with your paces because of do they call it undulating, the hills? I think that's good.
Well, it's not,
Whatever
it's
the
not
word.
undulating.
It's not
because
undulating. What's
like
it?
that. Yeah. It's up and down,
I need to get my
basically, yeah.
dictionary out. But the hills, because obviously, you've got to conserve a horse's energy. So it's just like humans running in a marathon. You've got to know where to go.
It's lucky you didn't ride at Scottsville in the old days. The back straight they filled it in. It used to be a big dip at the 1600 meter mark. And if you were standing in the grandstand, all you could see was the jockey's hats.
Oh, yeah.
And then the stewards got all uppity and they said, we're not getting the best horses and all that, so they filled it in. So now it's nice and flat at the back. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
he asked Dennis Dreyer. He said they spoilt the whole race course when they took the dip away.
Yeah.
Why would he say that though?
Because it was tactics.
It's tactics, right?
Tactics.
And
Yeah.
he used to win at Scottsville a lot. He was at one
champion
stage.
trainer.
Dennis was
Yeah.
the king of Scottsville.
Yeah.
He was the king of Scottsville. He won a lot of sprints.
Yeah, but the sprint races, that's down and up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about the that grade 1 golden.
Yeah, that's was
And
a
gold
sprint as
medallion,
well.
yeah.
At one stage, he had more wins than Sean Terry, right?
Yeah, I
I
think
think he still has. I think.
He still has.
No,
About
I
7 or 8.
Terry just broke that record.
For
think for grade 1
gold
winners.
medallions.
I don't know. I can't remember because they
No,
were
grade
going
1
on.
winners.
Was
but
it grade 1s?
Yeah, but gold medallions, I think Dennis still holds the
I
record.
think he
there.
must do. Like,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
But I mean, they used to race the old days that, and then when no one could see them. I mean, I know people used to live at a house just at that dip, and the swearing that you used to go, bloke used to grab his daughter and hold her ears. Because you could get away. I mean, in those days they had 16mm films. There was no TV or anything like that. So whatever
You got
happened
away
at
with
the back
it.
there, the blokes bloody doing each other, bloody pushing up against the rails.
Oh,
No one could see.
The poor appies.
Yeah. You still got that tower at the end of the back straight. There always used to be a stipe in there, so that they could see what was going on.
What's going on there? Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway, tactical riding. It's
Yeah, I love
but
it.
you've
I love
yeah.
studying form.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Now, Rachel, just going back to the July, you obviously had a lot of races carded on the day.
Yeah.
Did any of them come through and win?
So I don't want to be too happy about it because of the 4 trainers. I mean, of course, I was supporting my horses because it's nice for them to win. But no, they didn't.
But if you are probably in the saddle, and I don't mean this in any bad way, I'm sure anyone. If I was in your shoes and I'm looking at the card and then my horse comes out and maybe runs sick, and I think to myself, oh man, if that was me riding that horse, I would have probably won. I'm sure you had those moments as well.
I don't really think about it because I respect all my fellow companion jockeys.
Mm-hmm.
So you do look at it and you think, okay, well, maybe in this situation I would have done something slightly different. But you never know. It might have worked even worse than what they did. So
you never know. Yeah, I mean, looking at it from the outside is always different.
And with hindsight, it's very easy.
But you also in your lessons. I mean, there's sometimes I thought I was a great jockey and criticised someone in the newspaper. I remember criticised Anton Marcus once. I got the phone call that night. Bloody half-wit. Which race were you watching? So you got to sort of pick up both. When you if you're going to criticize, you've got to find both ends of the story. Because sometimes the horse didn't do what was supposed to do, or something happened that you didn't see.
Yeah.
So it's from a racing writer's perspective, you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Before you
we
start
also-
to criticize, you must.
We
ask.
feel things that you can't see. So you might ask why we did, like if we switched out or in or whatever. And you can feel what in the race, it's just like a sort of instinct you get. And yes, it's sometimes wrong and you do look like a fool. Like, why would you switch in when you could switch out and you get a clear run? Well, at the time, it looked like whoever was in was going out or things like that. I mean, it's difficult if you're not in the race to know why stuff happened.
Yeah, but it generally helps when you're looking ahead of you. I know a lot of the apprentices have their head down and not even looking what's in front of them.
That's something you learn. Like I learned when I show jumped. You look at the jump because then the horse knows it must jump the jump. So you look at the finish line, then the horse knows it must go through the finish line. And then if you fixate, I mean, actually, I think it was Mr. Gavin Van Zyl was saying to me when he used to run, he used to stare at the finish line.
Yeah.
Because then your horse knows that that's where it's going. And he said he's never forgotten there was a race. And I cannot remember who the other jock was. And he beat them. And he said the reason he thought it was because he was just helping me. I was riding one of his horses. Said the other jock looked at him to see if he was getting his head in front. And he was focused on the line. And I cannot tell you how many times for me, I've found my horse is putting its head down. And I'm fixated on the finish line. And the jock next to me is just cocking, having a look. And my horse gets its head down.
Wow.
I don't know, you never know if that's really what
It's
it
sort
is.
of a bit of mental telepathy.
I'm sure. I've always believed in it, but I am a little bit like I have a crystal around my neck because it's protection.
But I'm
one of those people.
Sorry to cut you off there. You were just speaking and I spoke over you. I think I believe in that as well.
You know what? They're
I believe
animals.
it
I wouldn't
happens.
be surprised.
I mean, I've done a little bit of riding at the academy, as you know.
I saw it. Jesus. don't take up riding.
I need to see those.
and obviously when they train you, the riding masters, they say, look, if you want to turn, just when you're trotting and whatnot, just tilt your head, tilt your body. The horse feels where you want to go and whatnot. And I think that horses can, they can feel what you wanna, the message that you're sending to them, what you want to do, what's your intention and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Use
Yeah.
your legs.
Yeah, but they're funny animals. I've found, they understand people so well. I've had days where, if you're a little bit sick or whatever, but I'm still riding work and I just feel, like sick. And suddenly my horses that normally give me like a hard time in the mornings are so kind. Like they don't do their usual thing, and then you start thinking, "Fuck, maybe the horse is sick." And then the next day you're feeling better, and the thing's still carrying on like normal. And I'm so sure they know. And I've seen horses, especially if you spend a lot of time with them, they react differently to you, and they can almost tell what kind of mood you're in. And it's incredible.
It's crazy. It's like they can feel the energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can also feel when you're scared of them, and then they
Yes.
they just
100%
take
actually.
off.
I've
Yes,
seen
yeah.
horses are on that, everyone always thinks, oh, well, a girl can hold it, it can't be that bad. Which with me are so well behaved because they're not, I'm not scared of them, they're flapping, they just carry on. And then someone who's a little bit nervous,
They can
next
feel
thing
it.
they're lying on the floor and you say, what happened? That horse is quiet.
Yes.
What are you doing?
But it's like a dog, right?
Yeah.
Dog's the same. When you're afraid of a dog, or if you're giving it negative energy and whatnot, it can feel it and it responds not in a favorable way. But
Yeah.
if you're dominant and you're confident in yourself,
then it bites you.
Yeah.
bite you, man.
Off to Hooker's
it
Hospital.
becomes your best friend. It becomes, I want to serve you, master, and whatnot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's
How many
probably
dogs have you owned?
none.
Oh,
Wow. This must be an
so talking
expert.
from experience.
I just let them smell my palm and my
Oh
hand
no,
and
I always
whatnot.
laugh with my mum because she is actually quite good with dogs. She had a whole lot when she's growing up, and she's always been sort of quite a funny with them and understanding it. I don't understand dogs, like the way they react to people, but I get horses, so I often will say things to her, like, I don't understand why when I went to pet the dog it was growling at me. Like, a horse won't do that to me. She says, no, it's because you did it like that. And I think, but I can't believe that two four-legged beings can think so differently. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, your mum doesn't ride horses.
Well, she does actually.
Oh,
Does
she
she?
does?
Yes,
Okay.
and she's also good with horses, but then there'll be certain things I'll say, like, she'll say, oh, it's messing me around. And I'll say, well, give it a smack. Oh, I don't want to.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
yeah, so,
But I think one big mistake people ride with horses is they tend to
yeah.
play on their mouths, and they don't like that.
No, actually, the less you touch their mouths, the better.
Better,
Wow.
You've got to have, some of the guys get a bit nervous, like, because you do feel a bit out of control if you throw the reins to a horse. You think, like, is it going to run
They
away
started
with me?
panic. I remember when old Clarewood once, there was an apprentice, but he horse just went berserk in the parade ring. Paddock. And I remember Garth Fuller saying, leave your reins, drop your reins, drop your reins. And luckily the bloke listened. As soon as he let the reins loose, the horse settled down. But he was up like this,
Yeah,
trying to stop
got
it.
to,
So that's the difference between a good jockey and a bad jockey.
Bad jockey.
yeah,
But I think confidence plays a big role as well.
massive.
It's like a human being. When you interact with another human being who's confident, you sort of also just calm down and you interact with them much better. If a person's nervous, you just sort of make you nervous.
Yeah, it's very much a sort of aura thing.
So anyway, Rachel, where are you headed to now? When are you going to champion jockey?
Oh, I thought you meant today. I was going to say, well, I'm probably going to
No,
have some
you're probably going
breakfast
painting.
and then
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. I
You're right in
don't
England?
really know. I would like to. I set little goals for myself, and so far I've done most of them. So I don't see why I don't raise the bar and keep going.
Yeah.
I really do want to go overseas. I mean, obviously it's this little thing, with Mr. Roberts. He wins champion jockey here to England. So now I start thinking, I wonder if I could do that.
Oh,
So
mind
that
you,
would be
when
incredible.
Michael, who went over the first time, he was a disaster. I think he
Exactly.
only
So
rode a
that's
few
why-
minutes,
Yeah.
And
You've got to decide, like, would I be prepared to go through that and then get all the criticism, or it might just be a dream. You never know. Or
yeah, I know. Well, Holly Doyle, I see she's the first rider in England to crack 100 winners
Yeah.
this season.
she's incredible.
And she's
yeah.
about 20 ahead of the next bloke.
Yeah.
What?
So
No,
yeah,
she's
good.
something
She's
special. Eh?
doing well.
Wow.
yeah. I think she should ride in France actually, because I see.
Yeah, she won a grade 1 there the other day.
Yeah, I know, but in France you get a 1.5 kilo allowance if you
Yeah.
jockey.
Yeah.
Huh? That's nice.
Yeah.
What will that
it's an
happen here?
advantage.
No comment again.
Take
Yeah.
it with both hands.
I don't know. Well, I just, I don't think it would be an option. So if it happened, it happened. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a bit of an insult as far as I'm concerned.
And that's what I was also thinking. I was about to ask Rachel that would she be comfortable with that? Like, why are you guys giving me special treatment? You know what I mean? Just because.
Firstly, if I was Rachel, I would take the 1.5.
Of course,
with
because you want to
both
win
hands.
races.
Yeah.
Because you get better rides, but it's also a bit of a slight on your ability.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I think at the end of the day, it's just if they think it's right, it's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
I
go for
don't
it.
have to say. Yeah,
Anyway, go and ride in France then.
yeah. Why not? I don't know. Might need to learn a bit of French.
Pummi-
Can maybe
Pummi's
speak
ridden
up
in
for
France. Pumi Majorca, he won in France. He won at Chantilly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I've never actually been overseas at all, just in general. So I mean, it would be incredible just to go for a little bit and then back. And,
Well, Michael's got all the connections there, so
exactly.
you're in the right stable there.
So we stay close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Rachel, thanks very much. I think
Only a
we've had
pleasure,
quite
yeah.
a good thing. Thanks for coming in. And the boss chipping in.
Yeah, you
my-
ask
your
quite tough
philosophical-
questions there. I mean,
No,
you
it's
gotta
not
think.
really tough. I mean, it's just
You got to think about them.
come on. The listeners
I like them
enjoy
though.
it.
Yeah.
Right, it's a good quality conversation, as I always say that. I've got questions in my mind, and these questions everybody has them, so why not ask them?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Oh, you're asking the right person. I mean, something I'm going around now with this bloody crystal thing around my neck. So apparently, I have a Muslim friend who used to teach me at school. So she phoned me and she said, "Shit, I heard you fell. This is, it's called black tourmaline, which apparently keeps away bad energies and protects you. And I must say, it makes me feel safe. So I keep it on now.
Yeah, we've always got those things.
Because
I've
she
got
just
one
said,
too.
yeah.
There's that one.
do you always keep
Have
it in
you
your
also
pocket?
got?
It's always in my pocket. That's looks a bit evil,
It does. It kind of looks a bit like a
but it's
horse
actually a marula seed that's been
Oh, it's a
chewed in
marula
by a
seed, wow.
thing. Yeah, so I also keep that in my pocket.
I lost mine.
What's your marula seed?
No, I
Or
had
your,
a
or your
tiger.
brain.
It's off now. I'll turn it on.
Anyway, Rach, thanks very much for coming in.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, and all the best. And hopefully we get to France or England. Speak to
I
Michael.
like France. People seem a bit nasty.
Parlez-vous français?
I've got like an obsession with Japan.
Japan.
I don't know why. Like I don't have my car keys. but
My nephew's just moved to Japan. He's
it's- I
teaches
like
English
all
there.
that, like, the toys and the gimmick things they've got and the like hyper stuff.
Yeah,
So I
but-
actually found a keyring.
But they shoot presidents there.
We do that, yeah, too. What are we worried about? Yeah.
Yeah. No, good. Yeah, thanks very much for coming in.
my
That's great.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Rach. And that's it. Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison, and to everybody listening and watching. We will see you in the number 1 box.
Thanks to Tawanda and Minnie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's look at that thing. Yeah, Tawanda and Minnie, thanks very much for setting it up and keeping us in the cold here at Summerfeld. Yeah, thanks very much.